The Lion and the Mouse, an Aesop's fable. One day, a mighty lion, the king of the jungle, was having a nap under a large tree. A timid little mouse that lived at the foot of the tree was running home. Accidentally, the mouse came upon the lion and ran across the lion's nose. Roused from his nap, the lion woke up. The lion angrily laid his huge paw on the little mouse, trapping him. The mouse was so scared, he apologized.
"I am sorry for disturbing you. Please spare my life,"
begged the poor mouse.
"Please let me go, and someday I will surely repay you,"
cried the little mouse. The lion was much amused to think that a mouse could ever help him.
"How could such a tiny mouse help a huge lion like me? I am the king here,"
laughed the lion. Finally, the lion pitied the little mouse, so he lifted his paw and set the mouse free. Sometime later, the lion was walking not far from the mouse's home. The lion accidentally stepped on a trap set by a hunter, and a net made of thick ropes captured the lion and pulled him up into a tree. Unable to free himself, the lion filled the forest with his angry roaring.
"Help me! Anybody!"
cried the lion. The mouse knew the lion's voice and heard his crying. Remembering the lion's kindness, the mouse quickly ran to the tree and climbed up to the trap. The mouse used his sharp little teeth to gnaw the thick ropes and set the lion free.
"You laughed when I said I would repay you,"
said the mouse.
"Now you see that even a mouse can help a lion."
"Oh, little mouse, I had no hope. Thank you very much. You were right. Kindness is never wasted,"
said the lion. Both of them learned that it is good to help someone who has helped you. Since then, the lion and the mouse had become best friends. The moral of the story? Kind deeds are always rewarded. Be kind whenever possible. It is always possible. The Tortoise and the Hare, an Aesop's fable. Once upon a time, there was a hare who spent all days bragging about how fast he could run. It was a very speedy hare. The hare was making fun of the tortoise for being so slow.
"Do you ever get anywhere?"
he asked with a laugh.
"Yes,"
replied the tortoise,
"and I get there sooner than you think. Let's have a race, and I'll prove it."
The tortoise challenged the hare.
"You must be kidding,"
said the hare, laughing.
"I am so much faster than you."
The hare was much amused at the idea of running a race with the tortoise, but for the fun of the thing, he agreed. The next day, the animals of the forest gathered to watch the race. Everyone wanted to see if the tortoise could beat the hare. So the squirrel, who had agreed to act as a judge, marked the distance and started the runners off.
"On your mark, get set, go!"
Who will win? Let's watch them go. The hare immediately raced ahead, running faster than ever. He looked back and saw the tortoise was only a few steps away from the starting line.
"Foolish tortoise,"
thought the hare.
"He is so slow. Why would he want to race me if he has no chance to win?"
Confident that he was going to win the race, the hare decided to stop in the middle of the road to rest under a tree. The cool and pleasant shade of the tree was very relaxing, so much that the hare fell asleep. Meanwhile, the tortoise continued walking slowly but steadily. He was determined not to give up. Soon, the tortoise passed the place where the hare was sleeping. But the hare slept on very peacefully. When at last he did wake up, because all the animals were cheering with excitement as the tortoise was winning the race. Determined Tortoise nearly reached the finish line. The sleepy hare ran as speedy and quick as he could, but he could not overtake the tortoise in time. The slow and steady tortoise won the race. The moral of the story: you can be more successful by doing things slowly and steadily than by acting quickly and carelessly.
The Ugly Duckling. On a farm long ago, a mama duck sat on her nest. Her eggs began to crack. One by one, yellow ducklings stepped out of their shells and said,
"Quack, quack. You are all so cute,"
said Mama Duck joyfully. The last egg that started to crack was the largest. Out came a baby boy bird, but it was an odd-looking thing. This bird was much bigger than others. He was not yellow but dark gray from his head to his feet. One of the yellow ducklings pointed out,
"What is that? He cannot be one of us. I have never seen such an ugly duckling,"
said another. Yellow ducklings started to yell together,
"Go away! We will not play with you. You are ugly."
"Why won't they let me play with them?" said the ugly duckling to himself. He hung his head down low. "Aw, they are right. I am ugly." At night, the ugly duckling went into the woods, away from eyes that could see his ugliness. "And I hide so that no one will ever see me again," said the duckling in despair. Soon he found a lake in the forest. Looking into the water, the ugly duckling saw the reflection of a flock of large white birds flying. There were the most beautiful birds. Their long white bodies and slender necks seemed to glide through the sky. He stayed at that lake all by himself, and time passed. Winter, cold and snowy, did not spare the duckling, but he warmed up as best he could. Finally, one morning the ugly duckling woke up and saw a flock of beautiful birds he had seen earlier landed behind him on the water. "Do not worry," he said to them. "I will go not to make trouble for you." But he saw a reflection in the water of one of those birds. He jumped back, and the reflection jumped back too. "Stay here with us," said one beautiful bird. "We'll be great friends." Then the ugly duckling understood what happened. He was no longer an ugly gray bird. He was a swan. At one moment, all the swans flapped their wings and took off into the sky. "Come with us," one called back. Duckling flapped his wings fast and flew in front of the whole flock. All his new friends flapped their wings behind him.
The Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, there lived 3 little pigs who were brothers. They all loved to play, sing, and dance. The time had come for them to seek their fortune and to build their own houses as the winter was coming. The first little pig was very lazy. He didn't want to work at all, and he built his house out of straw. The second little pig worked a little bit harder, but he was somewhat lazy too, and he built his house out of sticks. Then they sang and danced and played together the rest of the day. The third little pig worked hard all day and built his house with bricks. The first and second little pigs laughed. They thought their brother was really silly having to work so hard when they had finished and they could play all day long. The third little pig continued his hard work, and in a few days he completed his house. It was a big house with a fine fireplace, chimney, and a shiny knocker on the door. It looked like it could withstand the strongest winds. One starlit night, Soon after the 3 little pigs had settled in, a wolf happened to pass by the lane where the 3 little pigs lived. He saw the straw house, and he smelled the pig inside. So the wolf knocked on the door and said,
Little pig, let me come in. No, by the hair of my chinny chin,
replied the little pig. Then the wolf showed his teeth and said,
Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in.
So he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. The first little pig escaped and ran away to hide with the second little pig. The next night, the wolf came back. He was even hungrier and saw the house of sticks where 2 little pigs were hiding. So the wolf knocked on the door and said,
Little pigs, let me come in.
But the little pigs saw the wolf's pointy ears through the keyhole, so they answered back,
No, not by the hairs on our chinny chin.
Then the wolf showed his teeth and said,
Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in.
So he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. The wolf was greedy and he tried to catch both pigs at once, but he was too greedy and got neither. The little pigs ran away as fast as they could and went to the 3rd little pig's house to hide. The wolf chased them down the lane and he almost caught them, but they made it to the brick house and slammed the door closed before the wolf could catch them. The 3 little pigs were very frightened. They knew the wolf wanted to eat them.
What did I tell you?
Said the 3rd little pig.
It's important to build houses properly.
But he welcomed them in, and they were all together. The wolf became very angry, and he wanted all 3 pigs. He knocked on the door and, pretending to be kind, said in his wolf-sweet voice,
Little pigs, let me in.
But the little pigs saw the wolf's narrow eyes through the keyhole, so they answered back,
No, not by the hairs on our chinny chin.
The wolf became angry and he shouted,
Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in.
Well, he huffed and he puffed. He puffed and he huffed. And he huffed, and he puffed, but he could not blow the house down. The house of bricks could withstand even the strongest wind. At last, he was so out of breath that he couldn't huff and he couldn't puff anymore. The wolf danced about with rage and ran away. The little pigs held their breath. Then they saw the wolf quickly running away. Finally, the 3 little pigs breathed a sigh of relief. They were safe now. The 2 pigs felt sorry for being so lazy. They also built their houses out of bricks and lived happily ever after. So the 3 little pigs lived happily together ever after. The moral of the story: hard work and dedication pay off.
Dee and Lucas the Brave, a Halloween story. This is Dee. Dee loves Halloween. Cool costumes, jack-o'-lanterns, spooky stories around the fire, and of course, lots of sweets. So when autumn holidays started, Dee and his friend Lucas decided to go trick-or-treating. Dee was dressed like a vampire, and Lucas decided to be a superhero.
Superheroes are very brave. They are not scared of anything. I want to be like them,
said the little boy. Their bags were almost full when they saw one more house at the end of the street. It looked like a real haunted house.
Wow!
Exclaimed Dee.
It will be the best adventure ever! Are you sure?
Lucas looked a bit scared.
Come on,
You are a superhero, remember? Be brave. We will have so much fun. The friends came closer to the house. Dee Dee knocked at the door. Not a sound. And then, creak went the door. It was open now, but strangely, there was nobody behind it.
Oh my God!
Gulped Lucas, his eyes wide open. Don't worry, Lucas. It must be wind. There is no such thing as monsters, remember? It's just a pretend haunted house. Come on in. The kids entered the house. Lucas saw some movements behind the curtains.
What is that? A ghost? It's a ghost!
The boy started to tremble with fear. Dee Dee bravely went to the window, opened the curtains, and saw a little toy car that was switched on but couldn't move fast. Its batteries must be half dead. Dee Dee opened his backpack and started to take things out.
Got it!
Finally, Dee Dee found what he was looking for, new batteries. Now the car worked perfectly and didn't make strange noises that scared Lucas. They played a bit with the car and continued their adventure around the house.
There!
Dee Dee gave a torch to Lucas.
If you see some scary shades, just point at it with a ray of light. You will see that there is nothing to be scared of. Look, a snake!
Lucas used his torch and saw that it was just a pair of socks laying under an armchair.
Look, a wolf!
This time, light revealed a coat with a hood hanging on a hanger in the wardrobe.
Oh no, a monster!
But in the ray of light, it suddenly disappeared.
Don't worry, it's a shade from the tree outside.
Dee Dee calmed his friend down.
There is no such thing as monsters, remember? But if you are still scared, I know what we can do.
Dee Dee gave colored pencils and a notepad to Lucas.
Let's draw everything we are scared of. Spiders?
Asked Lucas uncertainly.
Sure, everything you want. Draw the scariest spider you can imagine. Done!
Lucas handed a drawing to Dee Dee. He was very proud of himself.
Ooh, scary! And now, let's make him funny. What about if it's roller skating and wearing a clown wig?
Lucas started laughing. It was quite difficult to be scared of this spider now.
And now, what would you like to do with this picture? Well, I will keep it in case I meet a real spider. Maybe I will give him the picture and we become friends. Great idea,
said Dee Dee. The friends continued their adventure.
What is this?
Lucas noticed some strange shape in the corner, but he was not scared anymore, just curious. He pointed at it with the light and saw that it was a big bag full of sweets.
Treats for the bravest kids,
read Dee Dee aloud.
Hooray! It was a great adventure indeed,
said Lucas.
My pleasure,
said somebody in a friendly manner. The kids turned around and saw a real Mr. Spider.
Spidey, I have a present for you.
Lucas was happy to meet a new friend.
And I'm not scared of you anymore,
smiled the boy.
Great! Come for tea sometime,
answered Spidey and closed the door behind the visitors.
Happy Halloween!
The friends looked at each other and started to laugh.
So that's who opened the door for us at the very beginning.
The moral of the story is, if you are scared of something, explore it. Maybe it is not so scary after all.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle.
Dee Dee was humming a happy little Christmas hum, decorating the tree. It was his favorite time of the year. He was just trying to place the sparkling star at the top when he heard familiar voices in the kitchen. In a moment, his friends Lucas and his sister Olivia came into the living room, holding a tray full of gorgeously smelling gingerbread men.
Hello, Dee Dee. Mommy made them for us. Hello, friends. Smells delicious.
The kids ate some cookies
and then used some of them as decoration for the Christmas tree.
It's getting late. Santa is on his way. Let's tidy up and leave some snacks for him and his reindeer. They are going to have such a busy night,
said Dee Dee. The friends poured milk into a glass, peeled carrots, put some apples and gingerbread men on a plate, placed it all neatly right on the mantelpiece, decorated with the stockings, and, happy with themselves, went to the bedroom. It was snowing behind the window. The lights were blinking warmly, and Christmas songs were playing quietly on the radio. The kids were wearing nice fleece pajamas and snuggled up in their little beds. Very soon, they fell asleep. That's where magic begins.
Ho, ho, ho! Are there any good kids in this house?
Dee Dee woke up from the noise. He sat up in his bed and couldn't believe his eyes. Santa's foot was sticking up from the fireplace.
Ho, ho, ho! Oh no! I am stuck again! I knew I shouldn't have eaten that chocolate cake before work.
Hi, Santa.
Ah! Who is here?
It's me, Dee Dee. Do you need any help?
Aren't you supposed to be in bed, young man?
But if I were in bed, who would help you?
Well, you are right. Get me out of here, please.
Dee Dee pulled his foot, and Santa fell down on the floor. They both laughed when Santa was trying to clean up soot from his face. This very moment, they heard a knock in the window. The reindeer wanted in.
Oh, they must have seen the carrots. Let them in, Dee Dee.
Dee Dee opened the window and felt cold wind and snow getting inside the warm house.
It's very nice and neat here. You did a great job preparing your house for Christmas. I am proud of you, said Santa. So you will get great presents for the best kids from jolly old Santa Claus.
While the reindeer were enjoying their meals, Santa put sweets into the stockings.
Now, kiddo, go to bed and don't tell anybody I was here.
He smiled and had his glass of milk. Dee Dee came to the table to bring some cookies, but when he came back, Santa and his reindeer were gone. In the morning, Lucas woke up first.
He was here! Santa was here!
Shouted the boy. The window was open, and he was observing the prints of reindeer feet on the snow at the windowsill. Dee Dee and Olivia joined their friend near the Christmas tree.
A toy robot! Wow! This is for you, Dee Dee. And a puzzle. Olivia, look! This is for you.
Lucas gave the kids boxes with their names on them.
And this is for me. Great! New constructor. Cool! Santa was here! Santa was here!
The kids kept chanting happily, dancing around the Christmas tree.
Yes, indeed he was,
whispered Dee Dee to himself, smiling. Merry Christmas! Enjoy your ho-ho-ho holidays!
Hensel and Gretel. Once upon a time, two siblings named Hensel and Gretel decided to go for a walk. They headed towards the forest because they loved spending time there, as it was always full of exciting and unexplored things. This time, they wanted to find something extraordinary, maybe a unicorn, or treasures, or even a unicorn with treasures. So, Hensel and Gretel ventured deep into the woods, leaving breadcrumbs behind to find their way back. After wandering for about an hour, they realized they hadn't discovered anything exciting. Disheartened, they decided to turn back, only to find that the birds had eaten all their breadcrumbs. The children were almost in tears when suddenly, in the distance, they spotted a little house. As they approached the house, they were astonished to find it was entirely made of sweets. chocolate, candies, jellies. They had never seen so much deliciousness in one place. Unable to resist, Hansel and Gretel started eating the house. The windows, the roof, and the door were all so tempting they couldn't stop. But then, a witch rushed out of the house, shouting, "What are you doing? Why are you eating my house, you mischievous thieves?" The witch caught Hansel and Gretel and locked them in a cage, then sat silently crying in a corner. "Where will I live now? My beloved house is ruined." Feeling remorseful, the children knew they had to make amends. So, Hensel said, "Witch, please don't cry. We apologize for eating your house. It looked incredibly delicious, and we were craving sweets." The witch looked at them angrily, but Hensel continued, "We can't turn back time, but we can help you rebuild your house." Suddenly, the witch smiled. She opened the cage and gave Hansel and Gretel aprons. "Let's get to work." Throughout the night, Hensel, Gretel, and the witch worked in the kitchen, baking cakes, preparing caramel, and melting chocolate. With each pastry they made, they managed to rebuild the witch's sweet house. The children were thrilled to help, and the witch was even happier. The house looked even better than before. In gratitude, the witch gave them each a whole cake to take with them and enchanted the trees to show them the way back home. The end.